Mrs. Fair, an ESL teacher at Albertus Elementary School. Today I will be speaking about the importance of academic vocabulary. The objectives for today are to learn what academic vocabulary is, to learn the reasons for spending more time on academic language with your child, to discern Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 academic words when working on homework. There will be some specific examples of language to use when you converse with your child, and some activities that you can use to work with spelling vocabulary that comes home for homework. A student's vocabulary level is a key factor in their academic achievement. When a child reaches school age, new vocabulary is introduced less frequently. Therefore, vocabulary acquisition stagnates around grades 4 and 5. In addition, vocabulary difficulty strongly influences the readability of text. In fact, vocabulary is far and away the most significant factor in influencing text difficulty. Teaching vocabulary can improve reading comprehension for both native English speakers and English learners. There are 3 tiers of vocabulary. Tier 1 are the everyday words familiar to most students, primarily learned through conversation. Tier 2 are high-utility academic vocabulary found in many context texts and cross-curricular terms. Tier 3 words are domain-specific academic vocabulary words. Here are some examples. Tier 1 vocabulary. This is the vocabulary of everyday speech. Words like walk, chair, bed, happy, house. Tier 2 vocabulary words are general academic words that are cross-curricular, meaning that you would find them possibly in social studies and science. They're more likely to be found in writing than in speech, and they often represent precise ways to say something relatively simple. For example, concentrate, absurd, fortunate, dignity, detailed, describe, analyze, observe. Tier 3 vocabulary words are words that are specific to a particular domain. So they are far more in formal text than literature. So they relate directly to a specific field of study. Triangle, syllable, tundra, perpendicular, democracy. Academic language is at the core of a Common Core. Vocabulary is the foundation for improved literacy. Oral conversation is critical in the development of vocabulary, and explicit descriptions and examples are necessary to help students understand and use many academic terms. I'm going to be showing you some academic text. So here is an academic text from a social studies textbook about volcanoes. So as you take a look at some of these words, we can break them into different categories. So some of the Tier 2 words, words that students might see in several different disciplines, layers, solids, eruption, formed. The Tier 3 words are specific to science, crust, lava, molten, volcano, mantle, magma. When you are choosing words to work with your child, choose a reasonable number of academic terms of not high frequency words. So you probably want to start with like 5 terms a week. To fully understand the terms, it's going to require multiple exposures. And when children interact with the words in a variety of different ways, it will help them understand and retain the word meaning. You want to select words that are likely unfamiliar, are critical to understanding the passage, words that children will encounter in the future, and are generally useful. Focus on those Tier 2 words, and you want to pick words that are easily explained to children at their level. We call that Goldilocks words. Not too difficult, not too easy, but just right. So Tier 1 words are basic words that most children know before entering school. Clock, baby, happy. Tier 2 words are words that appear frequently in text, which students have conceptual understanding: coincidence, fortunate, insist, adapt. Tier 3 are uncommon words that are typically associated with a specific domain: chrysalis, peninsula, decimal. So how do you determine what is a Tier 2 word? You want to ask yourself these 3 questions. Is it a generally useful word? Does the word relate to other words and ideas that students know or have been learning? Is the word useful in helping the students understand the text? You want to provide student-friendly definitions, so providing the students with ones that are accurate and the students will understand. Below is a definition of dazzling from the dictionary and then a student-friendly definition. Dazzling, to make almost blind with too much bright light. Outside the cave, the sunlight dazzled us. To amaze or impress, the boxer's quick movements dazzled us. Oops, I'm sorry. This website, wordsmith.net, is a really useful website with kid-friendly definitions, and there are 3 different levels. So depending on the level of your student, it can be very simplistic definition and get harder. As a parent, you can help your child to learn academic vocabulary. So when you are having discussions with your child, rather than using everyday words, try to use academic words. Here are some examples. An everyday verb might be finish, an academic verb complete. Repeat versus restate and review. Talk about, discuss, interact. Here are some more examples of everyday nouns. Answer, an academic noun would be contribution or response. Information, evidence, data, facts. Reason, justification, evidence. And using those words when you are discussing with them and telling them what they mean. So you saying something like, don't procrastinate on your work, and then telling them procrastinate means to wait to do something you should be doing. And pairing the meaning of the word using parallel language. Please refrain from talking. Please don't talk. So as you work with your child, here are some strategies that can help you introduce, teach, and reinforce academic vocabulary. Context clues. When you use clues in a story to figure out the meaning of a new word, you are using context clues. Clues are in the same sentence as a new word and the sentences around it. Clues can be found by thinking about how the word is used in sentences. Clues can also be found by thinking about the main idea and details of a story. Understanding root words. So the root word appear, if we have a prefix or a suffix, how that word changes. So appear, disappear with the prefix dis or the suffix ance, appearance. Wrap, rewrap, wrappable. Polite, unpolite, politely. Another strategy is see it, say it, show it, store it. So, for example, children look at the word, they pronounce it slowly, they discuss the definition or have them put it in their own words, and then use the word orally in a sentence. So while reading aloud, embed vocabulary instruction. Example, as he's using an oar or a stick to move the raft, you can point to the illustration. You're providing them with a synonym for the target term or and pointing to the illustration. Having your child keep a glossary of new words where they define the terms in their own words, write a sentence, and include icons or images of the terms. Building concept maps. So they create visual representations of and relationships among a central concept, supporting ideas and important details. Fist lists or spider words. So select a category in the palm of her hand and organized, and then the child generates 5 words that fit that category, one for each finger of the organizer. And spider words are the same. It has a body, and rather than 5 fingers, we have 8 legs. Having a word bank where children examine a list of words and place them into specific categories or appropriate slots in a visual organizer. Group and label. So again, they determine how they want to categorize words, and then they would label it with a title that has the items in common. Visualizing vocabulary, where children create images or sketches with explanations to help demonstrate the understanding. Defining different characteristics. So multi-layered definitions by focusing on essential characteristics. What is it? What is it used for? Why is it valued? Where does it come from? Vocabulary games are helpful. Games like Bingo and Jeopardy to review vocabulary in a competitive and fun manner. And 3 is a crowd. Children decide which word from a group of 3 doesn't belong and explain why. Biology, physical education, chemistry. They would determine that biology and chemistry are both natural sciences, but physical education is not. It is a class which physical activity and play are encouraged. I hope that this presentation was helpful for you, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.